Welcome to the stage of history. I am your illustrious host, Kevin Uncanny Anytime. Welcome to Fabulous Friday, y'all. Freestyle Friday, as I like to call it. It is on and popping. And got a really nice, good one for you today. We're going to jump right into it. Try not to talk too much, but there are a couple things that I want you guys to look out for as far as the interview that will be coming up on this Tuesday. All right. Open enrollment for the Mindset Matters Institute is closing today. So if you haven't jumped in, you'll have to wait till next month. Around the end of the month, it's like the last week of the month that I usually have open enrollment out. So if you are already in the institute, go ahead and share that this is the last day. If you are not in the institute, then hey, check out the information on mindsetmattersmore.net. See what we're kind of about and make a decision. Either jump in or wait it out. Here we go, y'all. So response is not always necessary. Now that's not a very extravagant or lavish title, right? But it is deeper than what you think. And so we're going to talk about that in a couple of different aspects, right? And in one aspect, I'm going to explain to you that response isn't always necessary when it comes to getting information. And here's what I mean about that. So I was having a conversation with my son this morning, and he was irritated. He couldn't figure out the emotion or what it was called. But his mom did something that irritated him today. And so he was like kind of getting loud. He was like, "Why'd you do that?" And this, that, and the other. And I walked over there. I'm like, "What's going on, man?" And he was like, "Nothing." It's kind of started. I could see he was very emotional about it. He started kind of crying a little bit about it. And I'm like, "Well, how do you feel?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Okay, so here's an emotion he's feeling. He doesn't really know how to categorize it." So I'm like, "Okay." So then I said, "Well, are you sad?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Are you mad?" And he was like, "No." And then I was like, "Are you irritated?" And then he was, "Oh, that's it." He was like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, hey, man, let's think about this." Because a little background story. Cool frequently does things that that irritates me, to be honest with you. To be 100 with you, right? Cool does things sometimes that I'm like, this dude is like really trying to get on my nerves. Like he'll jump all up in my face, he'll get right in my face, or he's very, very affectionate, which is good. But he'll be overly affectionate sometimes. So it's a little irritating. And I've mentioned that to him before, that, you can't do that to everyone. Everybody doesn't appreciate all of that overabundance of affection, man. So you got to kind of watch out. And I said, it can be irritating to people. He probably didn't get what that meant, but he heard the word and he probably just was like, whatever. So then when I, fast forward to today, when I give him that, that word again, was it irritating to you? Boom, he identified with it. Oh, yes. So here's where the title comes in, the title of what we're talking about. I said, "So it irritated you, huh?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "So do you think that there are some times where you might be irritating to someone?" And he kind of looked up and thought. And I said, at times we irritate each other. And I said, but if you can think of times where you may have irritated someone, you just might want to think about that. And I said, you don't have to respond. Just think about it. And sometimes what we do is we want to respond. We want to, respond for understanding, right? Check for understanding. Oh yeah, hey, I understand that, and here's why I understand that, and this is an example of why I understand. It's like, no, sometimes you just gotta kind of meditate on stuff, man. Sometimes you gotta sit back and really think about, oh, okay, why do I understand this deeper now? What just happened? This is some deep information now. Like, I'm really processing this. And that's what we need to do at times, y'all. A response is not always necessary. It's not always necessary to have to say something after somebody says something, or after something happens, or after whatever. You can probably think of some situations where you might find yourself having to feel like you need to respond. You need to say something back. Sometimes just leaving it at the last person's whatever, and leaving it dead silent after that is enough to let it process. You gotta let the words process, the thoughts process, the interaction process. So then when it comes to meditating on the information and checking for understanding with our own selves, inside of ourselves, to see if we've truly learned from the experience, that's how we can really make sure, is by not feeling like you have to respond. Because usually when you feel like you have to respond and then you do, you really don't allow yourself to process the information. That's just how our bodies and brains work. We're always go, 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 go. It's like sometimes it's the same with physical fitness. Think about it. Sometimes if you are just, oh, I gotta work out, oh, I gotta work out, oh, I gotta work out, oh, I gotta work out. If you don't let your body rest, if you do not let your body rest, it's not gonna process and build the muscle and go through the repair process it needs to go through to become better. Right? And so that's one of the major ways I wanted to draw attention to that awareness that I had. I literally just had that this morning. I was so tripped out. I'm like, wow, yeah, you got to just let it process, man. And that's what I wanted to do for him. I wanted him to really just sit in that information and just process it. He didn't have to say anything. Oh, okay, well, is that why nothing, none of that, none of that. Don't say anything. Just process the information, and then you, as you internalize it, as you capture all the information, then you, next time when you decide maybe to go into a realm where you know you are being irritating, then you'll either one, you'll really know, or two, you'll contemplate if you want to do it or not. Before you even do it, before you get into it, you'll be like, do I really want to irritate this person now or not? Nope, probably not. So nah, because I don't like being irritated, right? That's kind of how we work sometimes. But I mean, it's not to say we're not going to irritate each other, right? It's not to say that we're not going to respond sometimes and have to say something back. It's just to draw awareness to that thought process of, yo, sometimes just process it. Don't respond. Don't say anything. Just leave it. Another way is when we are attacked or when we are challenged in some form or fashion. Sometimes you do not have to respond, man, to defend yourself, to defend the honor of something or someone or anything like that. Sometimes the silence is enough for the other party to contemplate the information. They may say, so, oh, well, this is this, that, and the other, and you, this. And it's like, if you just sit there and look at them, give them time to process what they just said, and then respond. That changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. Instead of, as soon as they say something, oh yeah, and then you don't even let them finish. It's like, no, calm down. Allow them to say everything they want to say. Go ahead. They're gonna stop at some point. Go ahead. And then just be silent. Let it process. Let them process what they just said to you in their anger, in their frustration, in their irritation, whatever it is. Let them process that. A response is not always necessary. Sometimes you allow them to identify the silliness of what they're saying in their own selves by just being silent, by allowing them to fully process what they just said or what they just did, right? Sometimes they're just looking for a reaction so much so that they will say stupid stuff to try and get a reaction or a response. And it's like, wait, do you even know what you just said? Probably not. And if that's the case, let me allow you to process that. And so that's what I got for y'all today, okay? That is pretty much it. Love you guys very, very much. Remember, open enrollment is today. It's the end. So you can get in or you can just be waiting on the outskirts. It's up to you. There's great things we got going on. Just had a meeting. It was wonderful. We some really great people that are deciding to run with me. Some legends. They're legends, man. That's just the reality of it. And that's all who I'm looking for, are legendary people that are really trying to make change in this world. And that is our mission. That is what we're going to do. We're going to create a massive change. Okay, we're helping the world to find its purpose. And we're really going to show you some great things going forward, guys, of how we're helping the world find its purpose and what that actually even is. Okay, so look out for any of the new announcements, any of the things that we got going on. Yeah, but have a fantastic, amazing Friday. Okay, do the best you can to focus on the good, and always remember that mindset matters more than anything else. Anytime,